Hey guys, it's Carrie Kirpin, and welcome to your super secret solo podcast episode just in time for the holidays. We are in between seasons 2 and 3, and I thought I would take a little break to reflect on the year and also talk about some of the challenges that went into my first year of launching a business from scratch. Cue the jingle bells.
She just sold her company. She sat in a room full of men negotiating the biggest deal of her lifetime. Wait, she sold for how much? I can't even believe she managed to get double her valuation. Let's keep this just between us.
If I were to list the accomplishments that I achieved in the back half of this year, I truly think it would sound like some robot did this. It's really nuts that 6 months ago, I was working for the acquirer that bought Likeable Media, the business that I scaled and sold together with my husband to a technology firm. Like, I was literally still working for that firm as of June. And once I left, I was able to accomplish like a laundry list, okay? I'm gonna list it for you. And I probably am gonna sound like an asshole because if you think about it, like, it's nuts. And I'm gonna be like, I did this, I did this, I did this. But the reason I'm listing it for you is that I wanna talk to you about the toll that it took, what I learned from it, and hopefully what you can learn as you may be starting on any new venture in 2025. So, okay, just a couple of accomplishments. First of all, we launched the Whisper Group, which is an exit readiness advisory practice for women-owned businesses. We help women business owners learn how to get ready for exit, help them facilitate their exits, and just really help them be prepared. Not just like financially, but like the whole person. And this was all based off of an insight that I had while I was working for my acquirer that women are not adequately prepared for this because there are so few of us that have done this before. And so the idea being that I was going to launch this company that was going to be the number one exit readiness advisory practice for women-owned businesses because right now there are none. And I was going to build it through building a collective of women who have exited. I was going to find them. I was going to see if they were willing to advise. I was going to build a community of them. And then I was going to help launch and build this business. And I did exactly that. I also launched the Whisper Collective, which was that collective of female founders who had exited. So far, I built a community of 50 engaged exited female founders who have a combined exit value of over $2 billion. So the power in that room, it's really, really nuts. In addition to that, I launched this podcast and got to hear stories not just of women who had these huge 9-figure exits, but like of women who sold nail salons or Main Street businesses. And I recorded over 60 episodes in the past 6 months. I also wrote a book, which is coming out next year in May. And I got it endorsed by the likes of Sheryl Sandberg and Rebecca Minkoff and Reshma Saujani and Cindy Gallop and, just a lot of really incredible women that I respect. And I also was able to take the Whisper Group and scale it beyond myself. We onboarded 7 advisors, all exited female founders who believed in the mission, who were willing to join me on this journey. So if you look at that, I really did the thing and it didn't come without a cost. So I'm going to talk to you about all of the costs and why it was worth it and what that might mean for you. The first thing was a real commitment to content. In order to launch this the way I wanted to, I was going to have to commit to filming and putting myself out there because I believed wholeheartedly that I had to change my narrative from being an expert in the social media and agency space to being an expert in exit planning. So the first thing I did was get certified as an exit planning advisor and make sure I had the qualifications to do it. But the second thing I did was invest in a lot of content. Now, that content was really hard for a couple of reasons. The first reason was the fact that I was posting and I'm posting almost every day from my personal channels. And even when I ran a social media agency, I didn't do that. I didn't even advise people to do it. But When I looked at the data, I realized that there were a few things. First of all, I had a lot to say that I didn't think other people were saying, and I wanted to be able to capture that space. I wanted to fill that white space with a voice that I thought was needed. The second thing was that I felt that if I committed to that cadence, I would certainly change the perception of who I was. And I also would be able to gain reach like I hadn't seen before. In other words, if I was doing reels every single day, it would work. And the reality is, it did work, but it was deeply, deeply uncomfortable for a number of reasons. For someone who built her entire life on wanting to be likable and wanting to never offend and wanting to never be annoying, you can imagine how this feels when I'm like walking my dog in the street and someone's like, "Oh, I saw your videos." Like people who are not the target, people who just are friends with me and are inundated with content from me. So that was deeply uncomfortable. The second thing that was deeply uncomfortable was how might this content and what I talk about impact the people at the company who acquired me? It's not like I'm sharing any confidential secrets, but people might have feelings about it. I just left the company and then here I am with all of this content every single day. And then how about my former employees? Like, how might they feel? I found myself really like dragging myself kicking and screaming through the push to establish myself as a thought leader around exit planning. It's hard to film content, but I honestly think it's harder to put out content, especially if you're remotely self-conscious or if you haven't learned to care less about what other people think. The other thing is like a lot of times it would be like crickets, like nobody's responding. I'm like, is this resonating? And what am I even doing? So like committing to that long build was very, very, very hard. And so that was one major real challenge. So one thing I am very happy that I did it because I was able to have results from it. You see, eventually I got picked up on School of Hard Knocks, had this crazy, stupid viral video that like all of these people saw. And then when all of these people saw me in that viral moment, they went to my pages on my TikTok and my Instagram, et cetera, and they saw all of the things that I offer, all of the things that I stand for. And if I hadn't committed to that content, that wouldn't have been there. And my business would have still grown, but I don't think it would have captured the market share that it did without my deep commitment to social media. So that was first. So deeply committed to social media took a huge toll on my time, on my mental health and my mental energy. But looking back, I'm glad I did it. It's very hard though to commit long-term to that, right? This feels like once you start, you have to always do it. And so I'm just, I grapple with that a lot. The next thing around the business launch is really about time. This was an all-encompassing project. It wasn't something where I was like dabbling or having like my usual work-life balance. Like I went all in. And if I didn't have a supportive husband who was able to pick up the slack when I went all in, and if I didn't have an amazing community of like baseball moms who make sure that I'm like following the text thread and people who are in my corner, I wouldn't have been able to go as deeply in. And I think the point of this is that success doesn't come without a cost. Like I probably could have built this steadily and kind of slowly, but in order to get it off the ground, I needed to come out in a big way. And that took up almost the entirety of my headspace, almost the entirety of this entire back half of the year. I mean, Dave had to pick up the slack with the kids in a huge way. My health, oh my God, my health suffered so much. I completely stopped working out. I didn't make time for myself. I was all in on this business. And actually, I think we talk about that on quite a few of the podcasts where people are building some of these bigger businesses and they really go all in the beginning. And I went all in. So next year, I'm going to try and find some more balance now that we've gotten steam, now that we've gotten to where we want to be. I onboarded 7 advisors. I did it relatively quickly. It's scary because I feel like I have an obligation to them to make sure they have good work, enough work, interesting work, and it's hard. So that puts a lot of pressure on me to grow. Now, on the good side of that, it puts a lot of pressure on me to grow, which I think I need in order to take it to the next level. But I think it's worth noting that when you take on either partners, employees, people in like a RevShare network, anything like that, you're adding a need to build a business bigger than you. And that's ultimately a really good thing. But at the same time, like there's a sacrifice with that. There are many, many times where I say to myself, I could have built a consulting business, just me. I just could have been like, I consult on exit planning. I can do your exit. Here you go. It's just me. I would have had a lifestyle business and I would have made a good amount of money. But you see, for this business, I was motivated by a higher calling. And what's interesting about this is that I'm not in the same position I was with Likeable. With Likeable, we we needed the income and we needed the exit and we needed all of that. With this, it's not that we don't need or want to earn, but it's not the primary factor. The primary factor with this business is about closing the exit gap. It's the understanding that women are capturing just 1%, under zero point 0.8 of exit value. So every dollar spent on an acquisition, women are capturing less than a penny. To me, it's just unacceptable. And I don't think, by the way, that's entirely because men are building unicorns because they have more funding. I really don't. Because I believe that if every woman with a lifestyle business realized that her lifestyle business could become a life-changing asset and built that business with an ultimate sale in mind, we would also close the exit gap. We don't need to have, giant behemoths to be able to do this. We really don't. We're starting businesses at twice the rate of the population because we're sick and tired of working for somebody else, because we want to have the lifestyle we want. All of those businesses, all of them, can be sold in the long run. And to me, that's part of how we close the exit gap. Yes, we should dream big. Yes, we should build big. But I want every woman to know that any business they build can and should be transferable and therefore sellable. And so I'm like super mission motivated. And that's why it's not just me. And that's why I leaned in the way that I did. When we talk about the collective, remember I told you I built that membership community of 50 exited female founders. I'm going to grow it to over 1,000. It's going to be the largest and most exciting community for exited female founders. But boy, that's a lot of work. I have to keep them engaged. I have to make it interesting. I have to plan events. Like, why would they join? The amount of thought and work that has gone into this year cannot be understated. And it takes a toll. What I'm saying to you is that if you're listening to this and you're ending 2024 and you're heading into your year of launch, if 2025 is going to be the year that you go all in, take the jump and understand that the level of grind is temporary. It is both, if you want to build something big, necessary and temporary. When I reflect on 2024, I think, here's Carrie's year. She left the company that she loved and adored. She had a major life change. She launched a business to great acclaim. She achieved a lot of success and she produced a lot. And she needs a nap. And so I am taking the rest of this year to take a nap. You'll be hearing this on the last Friday of the working year. As I head into 2025, I am going to continue to grow and continue to grind, but I am going to start making time for the things that matter. So expect a little more balanced content from me in 2025. Expect me growing the business beyond myself in 2025, and expect the same amount of support and love and go-gettedness for female founders who are looking to make their mark. Have a wonderful holiday season, a happy new year, and I'll see you soon.